Hello and welcome to the Rusted Brush. Today I'm going to be painting a special character from my Estalian army. This character is going to be Lope de Aguirre. Before we go on to painting, I wanted to talk a bit about Aguirre. If you're just interested in the painting, feel free to skip ahead. Historically, Aguirre was a conquistador in South America, infamous for his cruelty and madness. Nicknamed the Madman, he called himself the Wrath of God and the Prince of Freedom. He led an expedition down the Amazon in search of El Dorado, during which he mutinied against the commander Pedro de Asura. Aguirre declared his intent to overthrow Spain's colonial government in Peru, but was ultimately captured and killed by one of his own men. While the historical Aguirre story is fascinating, my inspiration for this miniature comes from Werner Herzog's movie, Aguirre, the Wrath of God. I've mentioned this in previous videos about my Estalian project, but the film was one of my biggest inspirations for starting this army. The movie's Aguirre is a cruel, greedy madman brought to life by Klaus Kinski's haunting performance. Klaus Kinski himself is notoriously volatile, which adds to an eerie layer to the character. The movie's surreal visuals and haunting soundtrack capture the sense of despair and madness that comes with a doomed expedition into the unknown. Herzog's camera work immerses you into the journey, making you feel like you're a part of the crew watching the descent into madness. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, and check out the behind-the-scenes stories too. They're almost as wild as the film itself. Now, let's move on to the miniature. I got this miniature from Antediluvian Miniatures. I think it's a great representation of Aguirre from the movie, and I love the monkey on his shoulder. To start with, I primed the model with Vallejo white primer. Following his outfit from the movie, I started by painting his undershirt. For this, I started with Hive Dweller purple speed paint as a sort of undercoat, as it helps me outline where I want to paint this later on. While it's drying, I paint the armored sleeves and the monkey with hardened leather. I'm trying to only get the areas between the most armored parts of the sleeves. I go back to his shirt and start painting with Screamer Pink mixed with Hive Dweller Purple for the unique purplish pink color that you can see in the movie. I then painted the more armored parts of the sleeves with ruddy fur. This mix of browns was to try and make the sleeves stand out a bit more. I also painted his pants with this color as well. I painted his boots with Black Legion contrast paint. Next, I painted his jerkin and his belt with Athonian camo shade to have some distinct colors, since there was going to be a lot of brown tones. I painted any metal bit of the model with polished silver speed paint. This is my first time using this paint, and I really like it. Off screen, I painted his scabbard with Black Legion. I highlighted his jerkin with Nurgling Green, and then gave the whole model a wash of Agrax Earthshade. Once the wash was dry, I highlighted the sleeves with AK Interactive Ochre. On the undershirt, I highlighted it with Screamer Pink. I highlighted the jerkin again with Nurgling Green, just so that it wasn't so dark in tone. I started painting his skin with Bugman Flesh. I then went over the sleeves and his hair with Pallid Bone Speed Paint. And then applied a wash of Agrax Earthshade over the rest of the model. While I waited for the Agrax Earthshade to dry, I applied Crusader's skin mixed with Speed Paint Medium for a wash on the skin. I then painted the jerkin with Desolate Brown Speed Paint. This was to tone down the bright green color. The belt, scabbard, and monkey were painted with Baneblade Brown. I highlighted the sleeves and monkey with Catachan Flesh. I painted the strands of Aguirre's hair with ochre from AK 3rd Gen. I highlighted his skin with P3 Midland Flesh. I am mostly painting the raised areas of the flesh. I also added a bit of this to the monkey's face as well. I then did a smaller highlight of Kislev flesh. And after that, I used a very thin down wash of Reikland flesh shade to the flesh. I used a satin varnish spray over the model and applied an enamel wash of rust streaks over all the armor. And once it dried, I used white spirits to wipe it away a bit and to clean up any areas where I didn't want it to go. I thought his shirt wasn't bright enough, so I highlighted it again with Screamer Pink to have it pop out a bit more. I also highlighted his jerkin with AK Grey Green to finish it off. With that, I painted the base with Goblin Green and based it in the same way as the rest of my army, just adding a bit more vegetation than normal. And that's the model done. Here's a showcase of it.
If I, Aguirre, want the birds to drop dead from the trees, and the birds will drop dead from the trees. I'm the wrath of God. The earth I pass will see me and tremble.
I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and I'm impressed by the sculpt itself. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Happy holidays, everyone.